and I'll start the recording. Hello, welcome, welcome, delicious humans.
Hello.
It is so great to be back. We've had an amazing morning and lunchtime with sessions hosted by my co-host, Michelle Crawford. It's been amazing. The last presentation on understanding Indigenous culture and using Indigenous wisdom in the way that we build sustainable society was just fantastic. And it's great to be back with you again. And you'll see I have above, below, beside me, depending on how your computer or device is set up, the delightful Belinda Wallis. Welcome, Belinda.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. And so before we dive in, a reminder, this is day 3, our final day of the summit. If you haven't had a chance to catch all the speakers, you can go back through the Superhuman Summit group on Facebook and watch all the replays, and don't miss out on anything because the speakers have been so broad and varied. This summit is all about science and spirituality and the meeting of the two. And so we are going to talk a bit left brain, a little bit right brain. We're going to talk about unified brain. And I know that Belinda is no exception to that. Her topic today is change your thoughts, change your life, which is quite powerful. And I've known Belinda for some years now. We used to be colleagues way back when at a workplace safety regulator many moons ago. That's where we first met. Belinda's also one of the alumni of my Leading Ladies coaching group, which is a group all about helping women who are thought leaders become commercially savvy, as well as go deeper in their spirituality. Belinda is an intuitive life coach, and I can vouch for that. I know lots of people who have been supported by her and her amazing wisdom. And she's also a process improvement specialist. So she's a perfect example of someone who's blended the left brain and the right brain together. Yeah, she actually does it every day. So she's an analyst in one form of life, and then she's kind of an intuitive coach in the other. And she's really good at blending psychology and spirituality together. So how does someone get to a point, Belinda, where they've got this analytical side, you know, left brain logic, and then this spiritual, psychological, intuitive side? How did you get to that part of your journey?
That's a really good question. I was born picking things up. I don't know why, but it was a shock to me to learn that everyone else didn't necessarily pick up what I picked up. Mm-hmm. So I always had this awareness that I could I had premonition nightmares that came true. I had a supportive mother who listened, which is very vital. It wasn't squashed out of me, but I was also very left brain at school and came first in maths. So I went to Sydney University on a maths teacher scholarship to do a science degree, and I chose psychology to avoid chemistry. That's the only reason. I discovered a lifelong love affair. It matched and helped me explain from a scientific perspective why I was picking up what I was picking up and what it meant. So even though I, did textbook psychology at uni, and later on I also did a life coaching course, my greatest teachers actually came from a variety of wonderful self-help authors, such as Dr. Dyer and Dr. Robert Holden. And basically, I read their advice and then I practiced it on myself. And from that, the things that worked for me, I began to use my left brain to develop processes around how to apply these wise teachers' teachings in a really simple way in our day-to-day life.
Wow, I love that. I love that story. And I love that you were avoiding one thing and discovered something else. And that's a great way to unravel the beauty of life, I guess. And I also wanted to just say quickly up front for everyone who is watching, whether you're here in Zoom with us or over in Facebook land, I know Belinda is happy to answer juicy questions along the way. So if something comes up, you've got a question or a comment you want to make, don't hold back. You're welcome to participate. This is a fully participatory summit. We want it to be that kind of experience. So it brought you to kind of the career you had. Tell us about kind of where you're at today and how is this evolving and how can we help people change their thoughts, change their life? Because I really appreciate where you're coming from, and I love some of the people like Wayne Dyer. You know, I love some of the wisdom of those teaching, you know, Ram Dass, people like that. There's ancient texts like the Bhagavad Gita that have this beautiful, rich spiritual essence in them. But often in our modern life, we go, how do I practically apply that?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yes. That's where I come in. I'm a bridge person. So even in my IT and process improvement career, I was always the bridge person. So now I have been a life coach for a number of years, but I'm finally taking the exciting, scary plunge into letting go of my any form of employment and diving straight into use what I can to help people change their lives. So if anybody wants to take notes, it would be a good thing to have pen and paper. Otherwise, I can be asked questions and provide information later.
Along the way. And I know you're a bit of a teacher, so I'm sure people, I've got my pen and paper. I'm ready.
Okay. So the
Someone's just asked a question straight up. Oh, hello, Padma Kumar again. Nice to see you back on, because I know you've been on some of the other speakers as well. And Padma is asking, Belinda, we are told that data resides in the left brain. And I was wondering, does our penchant for filling data gaps with automatic stories lie in the right brain? Ooh.
I don't know the answer to that. That's a really sideways question. I'm hoping to be able to actually respond with people that have personal challenges that they're going through at the moment, issues that I can help you with. I'd like to begin because I've got far too much to get through. We'll see how we go. But if you've got a personal issue that you're really struggling with, I'm happy to help as I can.
Excellent. And Padma, you might try Arnie Google for that. See if there's an answer. And if you find one while we're on, let us know.
Okay, the connection to science and spirituality of my talk. Science, we're using the knowledge of the human body to know that certain events will cause us to release various chemicals which will make us feel good or bad. And the good ones, dopamine, serotonin, opiates, endorphins, stress, cortisol, and I've put adrenaline separately because it could be good or bad depending on the circumstance. But this is all about controlling our thoughts to determine which of these chemicals we need at a given moment to help us get through life. So a couple of, one little affirmation: you hold the power to shift how you feel by what you allow your mind to focus on. And Dr. Robert Holden has a definite, Dr. Robert Holden is the British happiness doctor. He runs the British happiness, but he just teaches about happiness, and that's why I love him. He says mental health is the ability to choose and change your thoughts. You are not your thoughts, you are the observer of your thoughts. And I will give you tools a bit later on as to how to proactively become that observer. Now, first of all, I'd like to ask you, AJ, if you wouldn't mind helping me demonstrate the power that you already have, okay?
I'd love to be your guinea pig.
So if you'd like to close your eyes, and I want you to picture a white cat and just nod when you've got your white cat. Now turn him to a black cat. Now turn him to a black dog. hold the black, hold the dog, turn him to a brown dog. Keep the brown, turn him to a brown horse. Yes, now turn your horse purple. Have you got a purple horse? Wonderful. Open your eyes now. So you've just shown that you already have the power to choose and change what you visualize, even something you've never seen before, which is a purple horse. So well done. So we all already have this ability.
I love that example.
Yeah, it's from Dr. Wayne Dyer, and it's the start of the process I've developed to manage your thoughts when you're triggered. So I wrote him a letter and thanked him for it. I got an answer too.
Oh, great.
Yes, that was really special. Now, can you think of a memory in your life, maybe when childhood, when you felt really happy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want me to share?
Can you think? Yes, that would be lovely.
Yeah. So I can remember being on holidays at Port Macquarie with my family and riding a boogie board with my dad.
Fantastic. Do you remember maybe in early school that someone might have said or did something to you that made you feel upset?
Yes.
Do you want to have a little share of that?
Mr. Golding. Chinese burns.
Okay, so can you think of a time when you felt really at peace, like just really relaxed? Yes?
In the Himalayas.
Okay, so each time you've remembered those things, did you get the same feeling that you had at the time of the event?
I did for two of them. For the one with the Chinese burns, I didn't feel upset. I think as an adult reflecting, I was more giggling at it.
Oh.
But it did upset me at the time.
Yes. So if I remember a time when like my dad accused me of being naughty and I hadn't done it, and he didn't want to hear my side of the story, if I think about that, I still feel upset.
The shame or the upset.
So the why didn't you listen to the injustice of it? So the point of this, and I don't want you all to think of all the bad things. That's not the point. The point of that little exercise is simply to show you different thought, different feeling. And when you think of something, you get an associated feeling with it. So
absolutely,
we can use this to trigger which chemicals are going to be released into our bodies to give us a specific feeling. Now, I'm sure we're all aware there's been times in our life when we felt triggered by some big shock and our heart rate goes up, our digestion stops, we have feelings of anxiety. You can even sometimes feel a whoosh come over us, and it's very hard to think clearly. We feel adrenaline is released, cortisol is released, and there appears to be some evidence to suggest that cortisol damages organs. Ongoing stress and anxiety can do all sorts of harm. So when we have a traumatic triggered event, our left brain shuts down. It's off completely, gone to sleep. And we are fully engulfed by a negative emotion. But as we've just shown, we can change what we think about to get a better feeling. But how do we do that when we're fully engulfed in this horrible moment? So what we do, one of my favorite things to do in life, is pre-plan. So when we're feeling quite relaxed and happy, we will write ourselves our good feelings plan. So this is when you come up with 3 or 4 items that when you think about them, they make you feel really good. For example, how did I feel at the birth of my children? How do I feel if I score a goal in soccer? How do I feel when I'm remembering my Camino walk or planning my next one? What about a holiday? How would I feel if I love Port Macquarie, surfing at Port Macquarie. So this is where it's really important to write down with as fewer words as possible 3 or 4 items, either a memory or something you're planning, doesn't matter. You want 3 or 4 things that when you focus on them, you feel good. This is your good feelings plan. So when you are overwhelmed and triggered, before your 3 or 4 items, your number 1 step is solve a problem. Just before your good feelings plan. So what we're going to do is we've got no left brain and our right brain is turned on in a really horrendous way. We're going to turn our left brain back on now. So we're going to solve a problem. We could do a puzzle. We could say our times tables. We could do a crossword. I like Sudoku and spider solitaire. It doesn't matter. It needs to be challenging but achievable. So what this will do is turn your left brain on. And I will confess, in the last few minutes before joining this live cast, I did spider solitaire to keep all the bits of information in their right places.
Great. So you're experimenting on yourself and doing
yes. So I know all these things work because they worked on me.
Padma Kumar just said an example of good feelings plan. CEOs keep photos of the day with their families on their office table, and when there's tension, they can look at that photo.
That's
and
beautiful.
Feel happy.
That's a real yes.
Example.
That's not just.
And for me, I often find music as well triggers, like music that was from a memory. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, smells, aroma can take you back. But so once we've turned our left brain back on, now we need to turn the right brain back on in a positive way. Now, when our trigger is not too serious, simply turning our horse purple, switching to a good feelings plan item, most of the time will do the trick. Yes? And then we tap in, listen to our body. How's my heart rate? Am I feeling calm? How's my breathing? Is it relaxed? That sort of thing. When you know that you have returned to a balanced state, you can then consider, how do I choose to respond to what caused the problem? Until you are at that balanced state, don't respond or act on it.
Okay.
Yep. We want to be coming from a place of calm and balance before we respond. Okay.
Makes a lot of sense. That's great.
Yes. Now, sometimes it's still happening. We haven't quite got there. So this is when we look at doing something artistic or craft-based or creative or any form of joyful or calming present moment activity. A walk in nature, a guided meditation, beautiful music, yoga, anything that will bring you back to the present moment. And after that, now I personally love doing walking meditations in nature to rebalance myself. And the first thing I do when I get there is thank the trees for fresh oxygen. Well, again, once we've done an activity, we've done some drawing or even doing a jigsaw puzzle even, which can be a combination of both, doing some pottery or painting, drawing. And So then again, that will help you get to balance. Now, if you are a left brain detail person, an engineer, computer programmer, you can also use a flowchart. Is this incident in my control or is it out of my control? If it's out of my control, how can I fully accept it, avoid it, deal with it, cope with it, work around it, whatever? So that's all you need to do. Find a way to be with it somehow. If it's in your control, take some time to think, what is my intended outcome? What do I want? Where do I want to end up? What steps can I take towards this outcome? And write your steps down. Now, it might be that you can't really do anything because the first step is a phone call at 9 a.m. on Monday, in which case you just set yourself a reminder and let it go until 9 a.m. Monday. Yeah, you don't need to stay in that state of anxiety in between now and the time at which you can begin your steps. So in the meantime, you just commit to letting go. So this is the end of part 1 of my process to respond to when you are intensely triggered. Now I've got some practices that will minimize you being triggered in the first place. I know a lot of people will teach about how you begin the day, and I love that, and I will not go there or question it because it's done, dusted, do it. I'm going to look at bedtime. So before bedtime, we want to only read, watch, listen to, or focus on gentle or uplifting or inspiring topics, books, music, movies, etc. that help you feel good. Yes? And then gratitude. Last thing at night, it takes, 60 cents to buy a exercise book from Coles? Every day, 5 reasons you're grateful for the day. And this is wonderful because when you've had a really crap day, you can get down to my toilet flushes. I ate. I have a bed. I can walk. I can see. I can hear. Right down to those beautiful things we take for granted. When I turn my tap on, I have fresh water. I have hot water in my house. These are all things that we need to be grateful for and not take for granted. Of course, when you've had a fantastic day, it's, I had this wonderful opportunity to speak to these wonderful people and AJ was right there with me, so I felt very happy, or whatever wonderful things happen in your life. But it's really important. Now, if you're someone who puts yourself down, thinks you're not good enough, I can't do that, or your self-talk is quite self-effacing.
Which is half the population, right?
Start also thinking why I'm grateful that I'm me today. And it could simply be that you smiled at someone who looked sad. It doesn't really matter, but that's a kindness that you've given someone that you should feel very proud of yourself and think, well, I'm a really nice person for doing that. It's really important. Now, also, if you've had a major shock as well, another thing that, now I'm an overthinker, analytical overthinker. If I'm triggered, I can do all these practices in the day. I can return to balance. But can I get to sleep? Not necessarily. So I have got a variety of CDs, but my favourite ones are from Dr. Sarah Edelman. She's Australia's expert on cognitive behaviour therapy. I have her beautiful Australian gentle voice telling me how to let go of anxiety. It's one of the CDs, Letting Go of Anxiety. And the other is Sleep Soundly. And these are really good. I choose to have CGs because I don't want Wi-Fi bombarding me in bed. But some people find meditations on their phone or whatever. That's just my choice. A couple of other things that we can do to minimize being triggered. In nature,
I was just going to say to people watching and listening as well, if anyone else has tips on things that they use to get to sleep, like if you've got apps or meditation things, then please feel free to pop them in the chat boxes.
Actually, sometimes I will go to sleep and I've listened to Dr. Sarah and I'm all at peace because she says in her meditation, most of the things you've been worried about never happened. When they did, most of the time it was nowhere near as bad as you thought. And occasionally when it was, you handled it better than you thought you would. So I go to sleep thinking, yeah, I can do this. I'm okay. I'm balanced. But then I might wake up, the monkey mind wake me up at 4 a.m. So I just reach down next to my bed and push the start button and Dr. Sarah gets me back to sleep again. So that's very helpful. When I'm in nature, sometimes if I feel quite bombarded, being very intuitive, I pick up too much energy sometimes. So in nature, I will engage each of my 5 senses one at a time. What can I see? Far, middle, close. What's the smallest grain of sand I can see? Are there flowers I can see that I've never seen before? How tall are the trees? Does the vegetation change? Anything. What do the clouds look like? Can I see a rabbit in them or whatever? When I've finished with see, which might take 5 or 10 minutes, here. I can hear the wind. I can hear some black cockatoos. There's a distant train. When I walk on these stones, it makes a crunch noise. Anything that I can pick up that way. I do find smell and taste don't take very long. Feel. What's the temperature? Is the wind blowing on my face? Is my body comfortable? Do I have good boots, shoes? Or if I'm walking in water, what does it feel like under my feet? What's the surface feel like? And by the time you finish going through your senses, if you stop and listen, your mind is not talking. You have interrupted the inane 60,000 unwanted thoughts a day chatter. So that's another tip to practice minimizing being triggered. Another one, which I'm getting better at lately, I've been practicing it for years, but lately I'm on top of it. Hurt people hurt people. So when damaging behavior comes towards you, it's usually nothing to do with you. It's coming from a person who may have a previous trauma they haven't healed from, and they're reacting to something. So replace judgment with compassion. Now, the fight or flight mechanism, when I feel that, I straight away say to my body, we need this. We need our fight or flight, just in case the saber-toothed tiger turns up at your cave door. So I straight away say, thank you very much. I'm grateful that the mechanism is working. However, this particular instance has reminded me of a past wound. It's not happening now. It was in the past. Right now, I am safe. I don't need to worry about it in this moment. Now, if you find that you have a particular fear or the one topic triggers you often, I'm not going to go into the details of it, but this is something I recommend. Tapping. Tapping has been shown to really help people heal from childhood trauma, whether it's fear of heights or worrying about what everyone else thinks of you, or it could be a whole variety of reasons, but that can be a really good help.
Tapping's awesome for interrupting state when you're experiencing stuff as well, and reinforcing the good feelings. Yeah, Nick Orton is great.
And you can also get off the internet, I don't know if anyone can see that, but you can just Google him and you will get the actual pressure points and the affirmation that you say with it. So that's really, really helpful.
And we've got people that are listening and watching on Facebook. I know Nicole's just said, Nicole Turnbull, that she loves tapping as well. And also she shared a guided meditation to fall asleep. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you, Nicole. Okay, so now I'm just going to run through a few affirmations that if they resonate with you, jot them down. If they don't worry about them. So this is just a little list of things that if something triggers you, you will know to write that one down. The first one I want to take a little bit more time on, take nothing personally. We can only give out what we have. Okay, AJ, would you buy apples in a furniture store?
Not usually, no.
Why not?
They don't belong in a furniture store unless they're one of those stores that wants a bowl of apples on a display.
Yes, because it's got written on it that it's a furniture store.
Mm-hmm.
And apples aren't furniture, are they?
No.
But do we carry labels around on our forehead as to what we have inside? No,
we don't.
Don't. So sometimes, and this is applied to all of us at various times in our life, we've, for example, looked to receive love from someone.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a sign saying, sorry, traumatized childhood, no love to give. So we need to be aware that people can only give out what they have. And so if someone is seen as a rude or abrupt person, if you observe that person, you will find that that's how they behave to everyone. And you just happened to be there. So it's actually nothing to do with you. Dr. Dyer teaches us that what other people think of us is none of our business.
Yeah, that's their business.
Yes.
So does that mean, though, if someone wants to be able to give more love and they don't have a lot inside, that they can start to learn and take on love and fill up their cup with love?
Absolutely. That's like money in the bank. You need to work on self-care and do the gratitude journal with the 5 reasons that you appreciated yourself that day, and start to feel that you want to exercise and eat healthily and give yourself some joy and laughter in your life and things like that, so that you feel good. I'll get down to some of the other tools that crosses over to shortly. Nothing has any power over me that I do not choose to give it. If anyone wants to respond with it, to challenge that or anything, I'm quite happy to deal with that. Now, accept what is. If you think of any people you might know or times when you felt depressed or anxious, you may become aware that a lot of that comes from resisting what is. But it never changes what is. It simply makes you feel exhausted.
It's just our lens, right? It's just the view that we have.
Yes, just like I mentioned in the Leading Ladies group, the difference between the 2 men with the flat tire.
Yes.
And one of the men has anxiety and depression. He's in the middle of nowhere, no mobile phone coverage. He gets out of the car, he's angry. He kicks the tire, he blames God. He says, stupid car. Why didn't the mechanic see that I needed a new tire? He triggers, he gets a cortisol and an adrenaline, and he's so angry he might punch it. And after about an hour, he thinks the only way out is to change the tire, because that reaction it's not really known to fix tires. Whereas a mentally healthy person goes, Well, I don't really like it, but the only way out is to change the tyre. He saved himself an hour of damaging chemicals, and he might even think, apparently you get 4 flat tyres in your life. Well, that's one more out of the way. So accepting what is,
I loved that. I still remember that, especially because when you told us I'd had a flat tire the week before. So I was like, 1 down, 3 to go.
That's it. Yes, and your mood lifts when you think that. Okay, if you, how do you react if you drop something in the kitchen floor and it breaks? Has your reaction ever put anything back together? No, it hasn't. So is a resistance to what is type reaction doing anything? Yes, it is. It's releasing chemicals into your bloodstream that make you feel anxious or upset.
Or as I call it, a chemical shitstorm.
That's it. I love that.
Nicole's just said the only way out is through.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do not have control over what life sends me, but I do have control over how I respond. Worrying changes nothing other than it reduces our ability to cope. And one of my all-time, this one hit me like a Mack truck, from Dr. Robert Holden. He was looking at blockages to happiness. And he said, stop wishing for a different past. It's so obvious, but I was doing it and I didn't realize. Look at the comment from, it's time to buy a new dinner.
Humor.
Yes.
When we break a dinner plate, it's time to shop for a brand new dinner set. Yeah, or just smash the lot. Yeah, pat my car.
Do the Greek thing. Yes.
Do the Greek thing. Do a dance.
Yes. Just a couple more little gems that have changed my life in the way I think. This is actually a really big one. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is a self-healing tool. It is never saying what was done to you is okay. And people think, I can't forgive them because what they did wasn't okay. You can forgive the person, not the action. So let's say AJ poked her tongue out at me and then she went off to play golf. So I'm sitting at home being really angry and miserable, and I can't wait to poke my tongue out back at her. And she's happily on the golf course. She's not thinking about me at all. So that's how that's how ridiculous holding on to unforgiveness is. It's something that punishes ourselves in response to the actions of someone else.
Yeah.
So when you feel really hurt by someone and they don't care, and it's unlikely you're ever going to get acknowledgement from them, it's more like saying, I am no longer willing to carry any pain in response to your actions. You are free, I am free. Now,
very powerful.
Yes, you don't ever have to talk to them again. You can set boundaries, of course, but once you clear your mind of even thinking about what was done, because it was their stuff, not yours, you're free. Now, I have a couple of memories that sometimes hurt when they come up. So when that happens, I put the person in a bubble of unconditional love. So it's a lovely pink bubble with sparkles, but I float them to the other end of the universe in their pink bubble of unconditional love, so they can't get me anymore. So, so that's part of my forgiveness practice. I just wanted to mention the taking nothing personally and the forgiveness. My youngest daughter, when she was 3 years old, came home from preschool and told me that some of the little girls were being mean to her. Now, most children at that age and right through to adulthood will go, Mummy, those nasty people were mean to me, make them stop. What Maddie said was, those people were mean to me, so I'm not playing with them anymore. I'm playing with nice people. She simply saw their behavior as unacceptable behavior in her life. It did not occur to her to take it personally or feel offended by it. And I thought, when she did that, my whole head went tingly. I thought, I wish I had known that all my life. So that was like, to me, that's a great gift to humanity. I'll be forever grateful. Okay, so unconditional love is something that, if you have awareness of it, it can also keep your mind in that calm, healed state. Where have you gone, AJ? I hope you can hear me, AJ, because you've gone off my screen. I will keep talking until I see AJ again. Unconditional love is allowing those you care for to make their own choices with no requirement that they satisfy you. And what I have to offer is of great value. If it's not valued, I must withdraw what I offer lest it damage my self-worth, and wait until I find the opportunity to offer what I can where it will be valued. So you need to be valued. I'm just looking at the time and what I have to get through. I think I'll make it quite well. Tools.
Yes, keep going. Sorry, I just lost connection for a minute there.
Right. Tools to lessen the effects of depression and anxiety. So again, this is another set of little tools that protect you from the trigger. So joining some form of altruistic philanthropic group to give back. This is vital. I recently watched a documentary where there was a life prisoner. He had murdered. He had a horrific past. However, all his life, he was an orphan. Nobody wanted him. He was used as child labour. It's no wonder he had never had the love put inside of him, no love to give. However, he was well behaved, so he was part of the guide dog training program. And he said, for the first time in my life, I am happy. I have something to love that loves me, and I'm making a difference in people's lives. That is how powerful it is to give back. Whether it's cooking sausages at Bunnings, I choose to coach junior soccer and take people on bushwalks. Anything, singing songs in an aged care facility or teaching them craft or something. It really doesn't matter. Have you got some ideas, AJ?
I think there's lots of things we can do. And I know since my mum had a stroke and she's been in and out of some aged care facilities, I've seen lots of opportunities there with taking assistance dogs and art as therapy and all sorts of things we can do. Or I've been talking to a land care group in the new area I'm moving to. So yeah, there's loads of things we could do.
That's right. And you often find there's programs that help troubled youth. We have a gentleman by the name of Jake Cassar on the Central Coast who teaches bushcraft and survival. He also teaches it to troubled youth and helps get their lives back on track. That's his part of giving back. And it's very successful. He's empowering them to learn survival skills. When you give back, unconsciously, you become someone you can more easily love. That makes such a difference. When you are the sort of person you can love, it just makes all the pieces of your life fall into place better. Now, another one, I said at the beginning, you are not your thoughts, you are the observer of your thoughts. So how do we practice becoming the observer without engaging in the associated emotion? Well, when you were little, did you lie on the grass and look up at the clouds and see clouds go past? You can imagine your thoughts as clouds. Another one is you put yourself in the theatre and your thoughts are on the stage. You're watching them down there. My personal favourite is I imagine a stream with autumn leaves floating. The autumn leaves are mine. So I can look at my thoughts and go, does that thought support me to get where I want to go? Or will it sabotage me? So if my thought is, oh, you're too fat, Belinda, I go, no, that doesn't support me to get where I want to go. So I won't resist it. I will just let it float on by. It's very important to be able to practice your observing of your thoughts at a distance and only choosing to get in the gap, as Dr. Dye says, between your thoughts and your feelings. Now, there was only one other point that I really wanted to make before I sum up, and that is, in my book, looks like this, or an earlier copy looks like this, but in it, particularly to help people with depression or anxiety issues, I have a template, and if people want to contact me, I can certainly send it to you. It is how to write a love letter to yourself. Now, we had our good feelings plan, which we keep in our pocket, and anytime we're triggered, we can go to them after we solve a puzzle or say the alphabet backwards. So this love letter to yourself is about filling in gaps. I'm a perfect and divine creation of love. I'm blessed to be surrounded by my family members, and you name them, your friends, your pets, whatever. I'm doing what I can to make the world a better place by whatever. I'm so grateful for, sometimes I feel low, so I surrender my challenges. But anyway, by the time you finish writing your letter, and it says, I have access to all the love and support, kindness and wisdom of the universe. Within me are all of the knowledge, experiences and understanding I need for this lifetime. I already am everything I need. And so that's a little reminder when you're really low of all the resources you have within and without. And I think I've covered all my sources of references and things.
Awesome.
There's just in Change Your Thinking, there's a thought monitoring form, which is again a really useful tool, because it's like, I hate my neighbour because they made me feel blah, 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 is my neighbour did this, I chose to feel this way, my other choices were. So it retrains your brain to think in a different way. And my tiny little summing up to achieve peace within, four things. Accept what is. Turn your expectations into preferences. I really hope it'll be a lovely day for my hike, but I'm going anyway. Dissolve attachments and practice gratitude for the good we already have in our life.
Well, and I think if the whole planet did those four, what a wonderful world it would be, hey? I think everyone needs a dose of Belinda quite frequently. Now, we have a question from Padmakuma here. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Do tell me if I'm not, Padmakuma. And the question is, I have heard it said that you become what you think. Now I'm hearing you, Belinda, say you are not your thoughts, you are an observer of your thoughts. Can you help me reconcile these two contradictory ideas? So you become what you think and you are not your thoughts. How do we reconcile those as our kind of final thing before we wrap up?
We have two sets of thoughts. We have the ego thoughts and we have your higher self thoughts. So what you focus on can be ego-based. I need to win. Why did that person do that to me? I'm a victim, poor me. I should have all this stuff. I'm very entitled. Or you can switch to the observer of your thoughts and go, no, that's not who I am. I'm someone that gives back to the community. I'm someone who is grateful for. So you retrain your thoughts to come from your higher self, not from your ego. Does that answer the question?
I hope so. I thought it was great. That helped me think about it. Amazing insights. So anyone in Facebook land as well, if you had any final questions or thoughts, We've got a couple of new messages down here. Let's just have a look at those. Joe's saying thank you for your amazing words of wisdom. Yeah. Thank you. I must be pronouncing that right, or you answered the question. So that's good. Before we wrap up and thank Belinda for her time and her energy and enthusiasm, I want to remind people that we do have a special deal on for our one-day summit immersion that's coming up on the 12th of December. And you'll see in Facebook that Michelle has popped a link there for that special event. And it's on a special price just while we're in the summit, which will end at midnight tonight. So make sure you hop in there if you want to go deeper as well. Did you have something else you wanted to say, a final thought? Aha, there is her web address, beautifully presented on the screen, journeytojoy.net.au. And you know I love the joy part because that's my name. Yes. Thank you so much, Belinda. It is always a joy to spend time with you. And I know your contribution to humanity is going to have a legacy far beyond the years that you walk here on the planet. So thank you for being you.
Thank you.
Very much appreciated. To everyone else, please join us at the top of the hour. We have a most fantastic next speaker, which is Marie Batchelor, coming to us from Melbourne. She is formerly a GP who now works in the spiritual realm. She's going to blow your mind away, just like Belinda has just now. Thank you. Much love.
Thank you so much.
See you all soon on the next call. Bye.
Bye.